Guys, Jacob Wheeler here, and this is Okuma's tip of the week. This week we're going to talk about frog fishing. This is my absolute favorite technique to throw, anywhere in the country, especially when those fish post-spawn, they're coming off beds, and they're fry garters, there's fish up there shallow, under scum mats and grass mats and around bushes. It's just a technique that works really well. So, first off, I want to talk about the frog. Now, this is a Spro, regular Spro 65 frog. I'm going to walk you through what modifications I do to make this frog work a little bit better for me and so it's tournament ready. First off, I'm going to grab the scissors, okay? Standard, they're going to keep them a little bit long, so when they come a little bit long. So I'm going to knock off about an inch on each side. Let me line it up. Yeah, let's see here, a little bit more. You can keep them, some guys will keep them uneven, but I like to keep them even. If you keep them uneven, it might be a little bit easier to walk, but I really just like it even. To where now you took an inch and a half off, it's just where they're not going to short strike at the tails anymore as much. The fish is going to commit to the body more, and that's what you want. Next step, I'm going to grab my pliers, and it's all about the hook. Hookup ratio is key with the frog, and one thing I do is I'll just bend these hooks out just a little bit. Now, I'm really small, 1/16 of an inch. I'm just going to grab my little rapple pliers here, pull it up a little bit, just where it's instead of it's pointing in, it's just going to kick up just a tad. You can see on my finger, your frog is going to have it normally, it's going to kick in, down, and you just want to kick up just a tad. Just a little bit matters. Good to go. Okay, now this one won't work on every frog. This does work on the Spro frog. On the back of your Spro, there'll be, you'll hear the little air pockets when you're squeezing it. One bad thing about a frog, when frog fishing, you're gonna get water in your frog and you're gonna miss strikes. So what I do, grab your scissors, okay? Now this is, like I said, this does not work on every frog, but it does work on a Spro. Grab the back. I'm just going to cut a little small hole in the back in between the legs. Get it in there again. Now what this is going to do, get it open. There's a little small hole in between the legs, and you can probably just barely see that there, just a small little hole. Now what that'll do is it'll keep the water out when you're working the frog, which I move my frog quite a bit. When you're working your frog, the water is going to come in and it's going to go right back out. And your hookup ratio is going to be a whole lot better. Your frog's going to be a little bit lighter because you're not going to have a whole bunch of water. You'll feel it being a little bit lighter, but your hookup ratio is almost going to be 100% when you do this. Okay, next is line. Okay, 65-pound Suffix 832 is a must. You can throw your 40, you can throw your 50, but I don't care what kind of line braid you're throwing. The problem with that lighter line is it can nick, and it nicks a lot easier than that 65, and sometimes it'll break. So 65 when you're frog fishing is a must. You can throw 80, but 65 is about perfect for your being able to cast it far and also be able to get those fish out of the heavy cover. Now rod setup is the biggest thing that I can think about frog fishing. Even if you do all these modifications to your frogs, if you don't have the right rod, you're still not going to put a lot of fish in the boat. So my personal frog rod is a 7.6 Helios rod, and it's 7.6 heavy action. But the thing is with this rod, it does have a heavy action, but it has that tip. I've talked about it in a lot of these tips where the tip is the key to your rod action. So this only goes down about 2 guides. That tip's allowing me to get that bait out there. It's going to be a good rod for skipping under docks. Also in that heavy cover situation when I'm fishing around matted vegetation, I'm going to be able to really get that fish out of there. That little bit of tip's going to allow that fish to get the bait, but then once it hits that, after that 3rd guide, it's really going to hammer it home and get that fish out of that heavy cover, out of that heavy grass mat. The 8-to-1 gear ratio TCS reel, I like to have it fast. So when that fish comes up there and eats it, and he comes running at you, you can reel up the slack and set the hook fast gear ratio, 8-to-1. You could throw a 7-to-1, but definitely 7-to-1, 8-to-1 is a must when you're frog fishing to get that fish in there so you can keep up with them. So this is my rod setup. Hopefully these tips help you out next time you guys are out on the water frog fishing.